Welcome to another chapter of Aloka Dhamma discussion. JAYA TV along with Mallasekara Foundation conducting these Dhamma discussions with the objective of spreading the pure Buddhism around the world. And today again I have great pleasure of and honor of welcoming Chief Advisor to Sri Sudasanarama Monastery at Battaramulla, Venerable Mirise Dhammika Thero. Whenever we discuss more about or towards the social issues we have in current world, I would like to start from there and discuss more about those kind of social issues. One of the biggest problem, as you mentioned, we grieve ourselves with the environment, the villages. So we discussed about the depression last week. One of the other problems we have in current world is the generation gap. The difference in values and attitudes between the generations, especially between young people and their parents. These differences coming from old and younger people because they don't understand each other, because of their difference of experiences, opinion, habits and the behaviors. How can Lord Buddha's teaching assist us in closing this generation gap?
Thank you. By the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, may you be well and happy. First of all, I would like to wish everyone, including Mr. Ruan Karagala, dear devotees and Dhamma friends. The Buddha's teachings are always granting happiness and reality into this world. We call it as akalika. Akalika means though time is passing, there are lots of changes every day, just we can observe. But the nature of human mind is same and equal. The Buddha passed away 2567 years ago, but still the Buddha's teachings are alive. Though Buddha is passed away, the teachings of the Buddha are alive today. Therefore, when we advise our young generation, we have to take examples, today, gadgets and situations, etc. Sometimes our parents and our senior people, they are having their own experiences, few decades ago. With those examples, when they advise or lead their children or their grandchildren, these young children cannot understand what they are talking about. But it's our duty, we have to explain. In our childhood, this is what we did. At the same time, this is what we got. When we go to school, sometimes we didn't have kind of shoes like, backpackers and brand name, bottles and books, and there are lots of things. But in this present society, there are lots of, modern implemented stationaries. And young generation is fascinated in that. Therefore, we have to see as senior people or senior monks, we have to understand the time is change. Period is different. When we address our young people with understanding, they have to talk to them. Of course, in our childhood, this is what actually we followed. But today, you are having lots of facilities in this modern society. We are not asking to follow what we followed in our childhood. But still, you have to understand the nature of this life. That means any time we may lose everything. That means we have to go through sicknesses, old age. Finally, we have to meet with final destination of death. By knowing this truth, we don't want to invite darkness. We don't want to invite for darkness into our mind, but to be mindful. And then you can survive being on this soil or earth. If you have any questions, sometimes when senior people advise you, it could be parents' advice, it could be your teacher's advice. If you have any questions, sometimes you can follow what they are going to talk about. At that time, you can talk to them, friendly, should be constructive, not to be destructive. The problem is when we talk about the gap of young generation and senior generation, Mr. Ruan Karagala, sometimes we don't realize each other's feelings. That's why we cannot understand. At the same timing, we have to talk to them with lots of love and compassion. Sometimes parents have lots of love and compassion in their mind, but they don't show it. Of course, we are not asking everybody to show your compassion and love towards everybody. I mean, of course, you have to do your actions with love and compassion, but we don't want to show. But in a way, sometimes you have to show your love, careness, and kindness to your children. This is what we did since from our womb, since your childhood. We sacrifice everything. That means we are having lots of love and compassion towards you by knowing this truth. And then when we talk to them, when we advise to them, sometimes we may resolve problems because they are eager to know, yes, mother and father or grandparents, of course we understand. In your childhood, you didn't have facilities what we have at this present moment. We understand. But you are talking about how to survive being mindful on this earth. That means, we have to go through sicknesses and disappointment and even those kind of things. Therefore, whatever the facilities we are going to use should be rightful. At the same time, just we have to train our mind to accept the truth of simplicity. That means, we don't want to waste. We don't want to protect everything. We have to share our feelings and our things, even materialistic things, just we have to share with our fellow human beings. That means we are practicing sharing our feelings. In the teachings of the Buddha, we call as Dana. We are going to help each other. At the same time, we are going to share our feelings of love, compassion, mercy, sympathetic joy, etc. And then we don't want to claim or complain. We are having kind of gap between senior people and young generation. We are having interconnected feelings. This is what we are expecting from the teachings of the Buddha.
Okay. Venerable sir, as a parent myself, I would like to add 2 points while agreeing what you just mentioned. Number one, why we don't, it's not about, yes, it is important to show love and compassion, but the problem as parents, most of us are having with our kids is, we are not giving enough face time to them, leave aside the love and compassion because of our busy lives. So that is one of the biggest problem I think as parents all of us are having. And number two, sir, you just mentioned the concept of akalika. Yes, time is passing and things are changing and nature of human mind is the same. But as parents we believe because we don't have our time with our kids, we try to compensate by materialistic objects. And we think our kids will be happy. We can show them love by giving a phone, and they would be happy by being in the social media. So that is the biggest problem as a parent, I believe, we are having. And last week, sir, you mentioned about mental happiness and the mindfulness. So what would be, sir, your advice to us as parents to change this thinking of materialistic objects through that trying to make our kids happy, opposed to through Buddhism to increase mental happiness, and through mindfulness, how would we make our kids happy?
Yes, as you mentioned, in this modern society, parents are so-called, they are having busybodies. They are so busy with their career, with their duties, with their relationships. They are so busy, but still, you don't want to forget. Being parents are so beautiful. It's your duty, should be its moral duty. Otherwise, you may give bad feelings to them. At the same time, they are going to appear as evil people in front of this society. Some parents are giving lots of, modern facilities to them to make them happy. But still, they are not, sharing their feelings with their kids or young people. Especially we have to consider about teenage, children. Teenage age is between 13 and 19. Especially our kids become teenagers. We have to, consider about their feelings. Also, we have to be mindful about their mental and physical behavioral patterns. Otherwise, when they, collapse with their own lives, sometimes we don't understand what happened to them. So that's why at each moment, just we have to be focused. We have to focus on their attitude. So that's why we are asking our parents to follow this kind of path. That means every day, please find some times to talk to your children. You have to, you share your feelings with them. You can, make them, kind of fun. Sometimes they would like to, have a fun time with their parents. Sometimes when they go out, they may find love and happiness from other people. That's a kind of problem. So that's why before finding happiness from outside, before finding happiness in a way of outside, you have to give this kind of happy chances to your children within yourself or under one roof. And then you understand how but your children are behaving. At the same time, how about their feelings? Sometimes, they can't realize what it is. Because of you don't have time, at the same time, they try to, make you to think about your problems, but still it's not solved, resolved. So that's why, and then they are having, problems. Sometimes they may get sick. Therefore, always just we have to find sometimes per day, at least 5 to 10 minutes, talk to them, share your feelings. Also, you have to have an enjoyable time with them. Sometimes when they leave your home, that means they may go abroad for their educations. But still, they have to leave your home with lots of happy feelings about you. I mean, happy feelings of their parents is very important. If your children stay with you, at least you can see what's happening. But after they got out of this country, you don't have in a way, control over their, behavioral, situations. So that's why we are asking you, give good chances to them, talk to them, share your feelings. At the same time, just make them to know we have sacrificed everything because of you. Sometimes we are busy with our own careers. We have to make money because of you or because of your brothers and sisters. But still, we are going to take care of your whole life. What we are doing, everything what we could because of you. Just you have to make them to know. You have to make them get to know. And then they realize it's all right. Mother or father, we love you so much. Sometimes you don't have time to be with us, but still we understand what's happening. We like you very much. That's the kind of feeling just we have to make in their mind.
So, Venerable Sir, the point you just mentioned leading me towards another issue what we have. I believe, sir, as you mentioned, the reasons what you just mentioned is a reason for this issue as well. Most of the children in the current society adore the individualism. So they are more self-interested, and they feel less empathy and sympathy for others in the community, and they might less likely to help others or to support others. What is the view about this individualism concept in Buddhism? Is it accepted, or is there a way of going out of that?
As I mentioned before, these two types of teachings should be understood equally. That means Sammuti Satya and Paramatta Satya in Pali, conventional truth and absolute truth. We have to let our children to know conventionally is all right, but should be righteous. At the same time, absolutely, any time we may lose everything. By knowing two types of these two types of truth, by knowing, just you have to act accordingly. According to the Buddha's teaching, conventionally, when we talk about self is all right. Of course, even the Buddha, in his sansaric journey, he fulfilled his virtuous lives. We call as 10 perfections, Dana, Sila, Nikkama, so on, giving or sharing, and morality, and then renunciation, so on. He fulfilled these 10 perfections, considering about himself. First thing is who has to be a qualified person. That means we are considering about our own self. So we have to think about our own with sympathy and empathy. We have to support other people. Attanang upamankata. It comes in the teachings of the Buddha. Always just have an example with your own. I don't want to be beaten by anyone else. Allow myself. And then nobody wants to be beaten by anyone else. Everybody loves themselves by thinking this way. Respect yourself. With their own experience of respect, just respect others as well. Sometimes you may think, this modern society is not, in a good path. There are lots of evil people. It's hard to trust other people. Lots of people are trying to, damage to our lives. They are, sometimes they are doing lots of, bad things to us. So how come we are going to trust even our own friends? Sometimes they may, break our principle. There are kind of things you may create in your mind when we talk to them. But still, of course, you have to protect yourself from others. There are lots of evil people. Even during the Buddha's time, there were lots of evil people. They did lots of things to the Buddha. But the Buddha protected himself by his, superior mental powers. But as ordinary people, we can't do everything what the Buddha did. But still, of course, sometimes you may go through laws and things. You have to protect yourself from evil people or evil environment. But still you have to be mindful to protect your mind from evil thoughts of anger, jealousy, hatred. But to promote or cultivate good feelings of, virtuous feelings of love, compassion, sympathy, and empathy. You have to feel sorry for them when they are in hard time. Not only that, you have to follow empathy. You have to understand their feelings. You don't want to put them down. You have to help them in whatever way. Also, you have to console their hearts with lovely words. Of course, it's very important. Therefore, according to the teachings of the Buddha, we recommend, conventional is me, just think about yourself. But not to do any kind of bad things to others while asking for your own progress or success. At the same time, being a qualified person, just give your hands to others to, stand. At the same time, show your love and compassion towards everybody. You have to show you are there, at any time. Sometimes, if it is necessary, you are there to help them. With these kind of feelings, we have to recommend, we have to respect everybody, think about yourself, being individuals, at the same time respect others with the qualities of sympathy and empathy, and then you may find lots of humanity within that.
Venerable, I would like to add one small point to what you have just mentioned from the point of view of leadership. In leadership, it says this is about not about selfishness. This is about what you just mentioned. Attanam upamang katta, I love myself. In leadership, it says you have to become successful before you become a leader.
Yeah.
Because if not, there won't be anybody who's going to look up to you and to follow you. So it's leadership and Buddhism. I always feel and believe it's going hand in hand together.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Ruan Karagala, even today, when we give a talk, audience may, they are curious what kind of background this gentleman or this monk or this person is having to talk about this subject, whether he's qualified or not. So they are curious about that. They are mindful about that. Therefore, when we advise to be a happy person, or who is a just a already successful person, and then we have to have our own experience, and then we are having actually moral chances in our mind to advise them with our own experience. Otherwise, just like we are reading a book and then we are going to quote it and then we are pouring water into their mind. So it should not be.
As we are talking about current social phenomenon and the situations, so I would like to draw your attention to another point which I have seen in and around our society, more or less, like a bit less in Sri Lanka, but when you walk out of Sri Lanka to the Western community, which this is very common, that is the domestic conflict and the spousal conflict in the world, which is mainly coming because of the differences of the standpoint, ideas or attitude, or disregarding one another feelings, and most importantly, failing to understand how to communicate. So how can we use Buddhist teaching to help domestic life and the members of the family to become more peaceful?
Again, I would like to mention about the compassion of what the Buddha taught us. When we talk about the Buddha means compassionated ones, enlightened one. So completely the Buddha is compassionated in his mind and career. Therefore, when we follow the teachings of the Buddha, of course, we have to be kind and wise. Before getting married, people are sacrificing everything. Simply say, they are on call for 24 hours while dreaming for their future. But after they got married, they are losing kind of their closeness. Of course, nothing is permanent. Always just we are repeating. We are using this kind of words and explanations, I mean impermanence, unsatisfactory, and non-self, to make you happy. Showing the reality of this nature, and then to be mindful, live accordingly. So that's why always just we are encouraging people to focus on impermanence, unsatisfactory, and non-self concepts. Always keep in your mind, it's a kind of you are promoting feelings within yourself. It just you have to think about that. And then after you got married, simply we have to say, You have to live like a god and goddess, living in harmony. Devo Devya Saddin Sangvasati, God and goddess are living in harmony. Though you are having two bodies, but still you have to feel one life. All right? Though you are having two bodies, but still you have to feel one life. You have no any secrets, in each other. You have same and equal, feelings within your mind. Whatever you do, as a husband or wife, whatever you do, your wife or your partner knows everything. That means your honesty, your honor. Always just you have to give to each other. And then they may feel, oh, you are in my life. Always you are there. Before getting married, of course, you promise myself, you are promise ourselves to, share our feelings, help each other, live in harmony until we leave each other. We know anytime we may leave each other, keeping everything behind, but still we have to live at present with lots of love and compassion. Mr. Karagala, when we talk about love, L-O-V-E, it's a kind of selfish. People used to say, I love you as long as you love me, keeping behind kind of thoughts. They used to say, I love you as long as you love me, otherwise go away. But when we talk about metta, metta means without asking for anything, we are ready to spread over kindness, friendliness towards everybody. So it doesn't matter, you would say, I love you, but still, just you have to have feelings of metta or loving kindness. That means without asking for anything in return, my mind is ready to help you. My mind is ready to share my feelings. Just you have to share metta. Conventionally is love, but meaningfully is metta. You have to share your metta feelings each other. Just keep in your mind wherever you go. Metta feelings of your partner or wife or husband in your mind. Metta feelings of your parents and kids in your mind wherever you go, wherever travel all over the world. But still, the feelings of metta is there. That's is very important in your life. And then the husband respect wife, not to abuse verbally or physically. You have to protect third precept of family bonds, what to promote in your marriage, not to lie, respect always. At the same time, respect with her, you respect her with lots of facilities, whatever way. Just if you can affordable, of course you have to go through. At the same time, being a wife, as we explained, though you are having two bodies, but still you have to have one life, and then do your the house management and then things. Of course, you have to get support from your husband, but still, you have to be a leader at home to do other kind of things. At the same time, you have to respect your parents. At the same time, your in-laws. Your husband's parents. At the same time, protect your family bonds. Also, follow a simplicity. Especially. Right now, there are lots of problems economically. Even at that time, if you are having experience how to manage your family, economical background, of course you are a person, you are a leader being at home to manage your family. Also, you have to be a talented woman. You have to be a talented, young lady or your wife in your husband's lives too. To manage your whole kind of your family. That means without having domestic problems, you can share your feelings. If you have any kind of problems, you can talk to each other. At the same time, you can practice, you can compromise. Sometimes you don't like, but still you have to talk to each other, and then you can compromise each other without asking for, everything. But still you can, in a halfway, you can share, each other. This is what we are asking you to be a god and goddess.
JAYA, we believe this valuable Dhamma discussion will be able to open a different perspective into your life. And I would like to thank again Malasekara Foundation for joining with us in doing this noble work. And as always, sir, it's my great pleasure to have this kind of a eye-opening and valuable discussion with you. And with honor, I wish you the blessings of Noble Triple Gems to continue your noble work.
Thank you. Anumodana.